When you think of ways to fight illegal immigration, you probably think of the new Arizona law or troops on the border or a border fence. But what about high tech? One company says it has a high-tech way to stop illegal border crossings, but they say politicians just won't look closely at their high-tech solution. So we are going to take a look. We went to ICX Radar Systems in Scottsdale, Arizona, to give you an inside look. Okay, here's a map of the great state of Arizona. Where are we on this map?
We are located approximately right there in the Salt River Indian community.
Okay, and this would then be the Arizona border with Mexico?
Greta, that's correct. This is 380 miles that Arizona shares a border with Mexico. And what we have outlined here that shows some of the unique challenges to the Arizona-Mexico border is that much or most of the land is federal land, either a gunnery range, an Indian tribe.
The gunnery range mean this whole area here, right?
To the west, you have a gunnery range. Farther east, a wildlife refuge, a national monument with which affords some of the highest protection that the federal government affords public lands.
Where currently is the radar being used that you've developed? Where is it currently being used?
We have 4 radar systems operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that are keeping people trying to trespass into the United States off of the Barry Goldwater gunnery range and keeping the Yuma Marine Corps Air Station's gunnery range free of trespassing.
Is there any way to figure out how well it's or how effective it's been in the 3 years it's been there?
Yeah, before the radars were installed, there were an average of 4,000 apprehensions a year on this Marine Corps part of the base. For the last 2.5 years, there has not been one person on that base. So they went from 4,000 to 0.
Do you assign that decrease in number to the fact that the word has gotten out that there's radar there? Is that your explanation? Because it certainly doesn't,
yes.
It's not going to block people from going in here.
No, that's true. And what it does is point a camera so that the operator can see whether it's an animal or a person, how many people there are, what they look like. And then they call the Border Patrol and dispatch the Border Patrol.
We are assuming that the word has gotten out that there is a surveillance system that you cannot compromise, and that's this radar system. So it's created that deterrent factor.
So what am I looking at?
Right now you're looking at an interface between the radar and your computer. This is basically going to be your visual layout to represent where your intruders are going to be. Now this is a map we overlaid on the radar. Right here will be the center of your radar where we are located right now.
We're at the red box?
Yep, and each one of these rings is going to be 6,000, or I'm sorry, the whole ring 6,000 kilometers, each one's going to be 1,000 kilometers. So those basically your range identifiers right there. Now this column right here is going to show you where your intruders actually come through. It's going to give you your GPS locations and your time that your intruder came in. It's going to have an active track on them, and they're going to be highlighted as long as they are moving. Right down here you can control anything from a camera display, which you can have cameras integrated with the cameras to automatically span and focus in on where the intruder is without using any kind of controls right here, or you can manually operate it as if you can see on the screen over here we have a camera operating up here. And you can see if I want to turn to the right and tilt to the right, and it follows where the radars are. It'll follow the intruders. It will automatically zoom in and zoom in on.
So these are linked together that way?
Yes, they are.
What's that? Now this is circle.
Now, what we were seeing before was a likely target.
What, when we first, right here?
Right.
That's a likely target.
Still would not have alarmed yet because he hasn't gone through all the math that we put him through.
Okay.
Now he's a real target.
How do you know he's a real target?
Because this appeared up here.
And what does that tell you up there?
Circle gave you. This gives you the GPS position and the range.
All right, so that tells you where he is.
Exactly.
But why does it now become a real target? What made it a real target? Just that it's moving?
No, because it went through certain tests that we put it through.
What kind of tests?
Tests pattern recognition is one. Signal strength is another one.
Okay, I need to have you gentlemen help me understand something. SBI Net had a 28-mile project to do, and that has been postponed because it was ineffective. Do you have any idea how much money was spent on that, by the way? What's the ballpark number?
I think it's $700 million.
Well, $700 million was spent on SBI Net and defense. So probably about half of it on SBI Net, 300 million, something like that.
All right, so
best we can tell.
300 million for something that hasn't worked. Now your radar is about $3 to $4 million for how much space?
21 miles.
All right, so for a little bit less than 28 miles, you're $3 to $4 million versus the 300 million. So I guess we can agree that doesn't sound like a good way to spend money. All right, why, if this one's effective and so profoundly cheaper, isn't this system being used?
Governor Napolitano, she was governor when this bill was passed in the legislature. I supported it, vetoed it.
Now, why did she veto it?
She was unhappy about other elements of the bill that didn't have anything to do with photo radar or border radar. She didn't mention border radar, I don't think, in the message at all.
So this was part of another bigger bill?
Yeah, they made it an omnibus bill. I frankly disagreed with that. I thought just keeping it strictly to the radar system would have been the smartest thing to do.
I realized that it was rolled in an omnibus bill and so that it got vetoed for other reasons. But if it is so much more effective, if it actually works, this other program obviously does not, it's been postponed. And if it's so much cheaper, I'm having a real hard time understanding what the problem is.
Yeah, so are we. Very, very frustrating. However, I would like to appeal to our Homeland Security Director to take another look at this system because it is working. It doesn't have to be this company's system, but this program works.